Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach. Here we talk about overlanding, gear builds, DIY, all sorts of stuff related to modifying your vehicle. In particular, I have a 4Runner. A pretty popular video of mine has been the Dasaita head unit install. And I looked up some videos on these just to see what some of the other people were talking about, and it seems to be kind of controversial. And also, a lot of you, like 2 years ago, have been asking for kind of at least an update video or showing features or some sort of additional content on the head unit. So I figured I'd hop on here and make a video and just kind of talk you through the practical features that it has, things that you really only care about from a day-to-day, not like oh, it can do this and this and this and this, but yeah, you'll use that 1% of the time. So I'm gonna show you a lot of the Apple CarPlay features that are really handy and might be beneficial for all of you. I'm gonna show you some of the features that I use from the head unit itself, some ways I've customized the head unit a little bit, but also just the sort of practical experience I've had and sort of a long-term review. So that being said, this video is gonna be shorter and I'm just gonna be talking about the head unit, but I think a lot of you are curious, so I'm gonna provide you with an update. All right, let's jump out to the vehicle. Every time I just leave this Z-Link app open, so when you turn off the car, turn it back on, it's gonna cycle through the Apple CarPlay and not. Every now and then it won't recognize my phone, and it's a little bit weird. I don't know why it does this, but all I do is I turn off the vehicle, wait for the screen to completely power off, and then turn it back on, and once you kind of reset it like that, it seems to fix it. So now, if we're looking here at the head unit, this sort of is the, I don't know, it's kind of like a dashboard. So you'll have your maps on the left, and then you'll have music or maybe a calendar or some things, and then like a Google Maps thing up here. If you click this button, it'll show you all of the apps that are installed, which is just like the next screen. So most of them are built-in apps, but as you can see, there's some others as well. So like I have Onyx Off-Road, Gaia, I guess you can run Zoom, Spotify obviously. Just Park is an app here in the Twin Cities that you use to pay for parking meters. And then the Garmin Power Switch app, which is pretty sick. I don't have anything connected to it right now, but you can click that and boot up your Garmin Power Switch controls. What else? That's kind of it. Apple CarPlay isn't overly complicated or crazy, but what it does allow you to do is run your music, maps, and all those things in a really clean way, and so I'm never really looking at my phone, which for all intents and purposes is just safer. One thing I also really like is, I don't know what it is, but with using this head unit, if I play music through just the Bluetooth mode, it doesn't seem to sound as good as when I play it through Apple CarPlay, which someone can explain that to me in the comment section, but for some reason that has been my experience. Another thing I also absolutely love is you can click this button for muting on and off, and then you can run the volume with an actual dial. I absolutely love having a physical volume dial. It's just such a force of habit. It's so nice. And then I can also run the volume on my steering wheel. And then you can click like next with the left and right arrows, like look through whatever songs are here. This must be like a radio. So people have asked before if this will use your stock controls, and they will. I believe, yeah, this like mouth button here, like talking button, allows you to mute. And then I think this will answer phone calls when it comes in, but I don't remember. And then if you click in the middle of your joystick on the left side of your steering wheel, like that'll do play and pause. So yeah, just overall, lots of really great functionality. Another thing I really like is it's all black, so it matches the interior aesthetic of your vehicle. If you've got a trim level with all black interior versus silver interior, they have those options for you. And this has been completely compatible with my Rago Fabrication dash mount, which as you can see has kind of gained a few more things since last doing this video, where I've got a mount for my radio, a magnetic mount for my phone, and then another magnetic mount for my ScanGauge, which I use to monitor temperatures, my MPGs with 35s, those sorts of things. And then down here, you know, I've got my custom rocker panel switch here with a USB port and just some other stuff. So you know, running this head unit doesn't like impede all these other things I've done in the vehicle, and I just really appreciate that. So let's see here, getting out of Apple CarPlay though, this is the main dashboard of the actual head unit. And you can customize where all of these go. So like once you hold it down, you can move them around and lay this out just how you want. So I don't use a ton of the built-in features, and it's really not that necessary. So I just do this as a way to keep it clean, keep it simple. You can use, I think, a USB drive to put pictures on here. So this background is actually a free background from Tan Famgram. He's a guy on Instagram that's really big into topo. I took his photo and I just cropped it to the resolution dimensions of this screen, and it's pretty sick. So yeah, I've got this topo background on here. If we go click into this, you can click some of these other things on the sides. They're like a fast way to get to them. So you can get to the amplifier, which is like adjusting all of the controls. One thing I will also really note is I know people complain about the like in-tune sort of lower level speaker system in here, but I tell you what, with this head unit, and then with all the sound deadening I did inside the vehicle, so I have Noico sound deadening, kind of like that tar type stuff, or I don't know the material exactly, but it's like this stuff you roll on, and then there's a thin layer of sticky insulation. I'll link that video in the top. Between all of those and using this head unit, my sound in here really sounds great. I'm actually thinking about adding a subwoofer, but I definitely don't need to. And I really like this pop feature. You can click this here just for balance and other things, and then kind of moving it all around. If we go back to the home, you can then go to settings here as well and do all the things within settings that you might need to do. I've got my front camera here, which sometimes like needs to get switched. For some reason, sometimes it'll pop up and it's like flipped, and so you have to mirror it. But then I can click this, and you can also switch between front and back cameras at any point. So it's not just front camera visualization, but also your rear camera visualization. So that's pretty sweet. This Z-Link is the Apple CarPlay, and then this right here is just the Bluetooth app for the built-in radio. I leave it there just in case. If we swipe down, you can change settings there too, but literally I don't do any of that. I just use Apple CarPlay and it works fantastic. There's a bunch of these other built-in apps which you can look at. I think there's some sort of adapter where you can plug this into your TPMS. I think there's some sort of module. I haven't quite figured this out. If someone wants to explain this to me, I'd consider doing it, but there's a way to plug in your OBD2 to the radio, and I think there's some sort of conversion module that will like load TPMS values in. This obviously doesn't load in for me, and it also doesn't show on my gauge cluster. So I don't know if this is like something with just my TPMS not being synced or something, but it's kind of bizarre because I still will get low tire pressure warnings. But yeah, if someone knows how to do this and wants to explain it to me, I'd consider doing it, and you have the ability. I've never even clicked this navigation button, but I guess you can run Google Maps if you have like a SIM card in the radio or something like that. But again, I just do that all through Apple CarPlay. Yeah, I think that kind of wraps everything up. The only problem I've had with it is the fact that sometimes Apple CarPlay doesn't connect right away. And it's a little bit annoying, but I'll just restart my car and then it's just fine. I have noticed on a couple occasions my music will skip. It maybe happens once a month, but mid-song in Apple CarPlay, my song will skip a little bit. But I think this is actually a bug of Apple CarPlay. I think if you talk to a lot of people about Apple CarPlay, it gets kind of buggy. So I don't think this is a problem with the head unit. I think this is an Apple CarPlay thing and just my connection being a little unstable from my phone to the head unit, because my phone is right here. It's completely wireless, the wireless Apple CarPlay. So I'm not plugging my phone in every time I'm using this. It's completely wireless. So pretty stoked for that. And honestly, I've really loved this head unit. I should have done this the moment I bought my vehicle. For daily life, it's just so convenient, and it really updates the interior of these 2010 to 2019 4Runners. I guess one thing that's kind of cool is it also will change from a white to dark background with the low beams. So it's got that feature for at night. So like I said, I primarily only use the Apple CarPlay feature. It is wireless Apple CarPlay and it is awesome. This purchase was, I think, July 14th of 2021. It is 2 years past owning it now, and it's been awesome. I've used it every single time since, you know, other than that other head unit I ran for like a week or so. I've been running this head unit and I've had basically zero issues with it. So a couple minor little quirks about it that I sent. A couple minor little quirks that I kind of talked about throughout the video when I was in the vehicle, but other than that, like it's been reliable. The music sounds great, and the maps work every single time I've used them. It's just awesome. And for the price you pay, I really feel like this is money well spent and a nice luxury improvement in the 4Runner, where, you know, Toyotas are notoriously not very feature heavy. So if you're one of those with a 2020 and newer 4Runner, I don't know if I'd run out an upgrade, but you know, that's your call. I think this has a nice balance of touchscreen and physical knobs, and it is a heck of an upgrade from the older speaker systems. Now, if you're someone out there with a limited where you have like that amplifier and the upgraded sound system, I'm not exactly sure how this would integrate. Maybe that amp is completely external, and so there's a speaker signal fed into an amp. I just don't know, or maybe those amps are only for like modifying some of the speakers for lower tones. I'm really not sure. You might have to look into that a little bit further. But for the baseline speaker system, definitely, I think that it sounds just as good or better with this unit compared to the old one. And go check out my sound deadening video, because if you're kind of somebody who uses their 4Runner more for daily life, it might be worth your time to pull out some of the interior and put down some sound deadening, because the speakers, I think, sound better, primarily from doing the doors. If I had to guess, they just can resonate better inside the doors. But also the doors, when you slam them, like, they're not as tinny, and I presume the cabin is a little bit more sound deadened now, so that sound sounds better in them and it doesn't echo as bad. You know, there's multiple reasons where that, you know, probably provided improvements. But hopefully this was helpful for you all. I know that some of you out there had some concerns about just purchasing this and it being maybe a lower quality product. It seems to be that these are made primarily in China, so if you have concerns about quality, maybe just go about purchasing this in safer routes, like putting it on a credit card so that, you know, maybe your credit card company can stand behind you, or purchasing through Amazon so that if you have an issue with customer service, maybe Amazon can help you in some regard. Maybe try to insulate yourself in those ways. I'm not really sure. I worked directly with Dasaita like 2 years ago, and since then it seems like they've made some changes as far as customer service goes. Now you don't need to reach out to them for a 2010 to 2013 harness. It looks like they sell that actual package on Amazon. So it sounds like some people have maybe had troubles with the head unit and maybe troubles with customer service, but they seem to actually be pretty responsive for customer service. And if you're someone who's purchased multiple things from overseas, sometimes overseas customer service is not that good, but that hasn't really been my experience. I've reached out to Dasaita a couple times and they've been helpful. And also, when my unit first came, there was like this weird firmware update that didn't go through correctly. And so I talked a little bit about that in the install video, and their customer service helped me kind of walk through that. So yeah, I don't know. If you're having trouble contacting their customer service, maybe just keep trying. But like I said, there's maybe other ways in which you can insulate yourself a bit. But hopefully this was helpful. I thought that this head unit was a great bang for your buck, and it's got great features, and I haven't really had problems with it. So consider checking it out, and maybe that'll be of use to you. I have linked it down below. Those links are affiliate links, and they help the channel grow and help me be able to make more content like this. It's no cost to you, but I figure I'll throw that out there. So thank you so much for watching and you know, checking in with my videos. And if you're somebody who doesn't modify your vehicle that much, you know, this is a very practical modification. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.